push the microphone in line. Don't do it. Listen to me now, young man. I've traveled the world. Don't do it.
No, she's talking to me. No, she's talking to me.
I have traveled the world. I've traveled the world. And let me tell you, from I've been minister till I'm prime minister, and the media internationally, not one have ever been rude to me. And they've always treated me with respect.
And to step up and get busy and get wicked on them touch. Like you think this thing gonna come easy. You're fooling yourself. Nah, come easy, baby, right? Nah, give up this so easy. Jamaica, what's to say? The table turn. We don't take this thing serious. Make some sacrifice so make we come through this time. We have built something together in the people. We have built that thing for the People's National Party. Enough of you don't really know me, you know. Probably somebody else said me for the first time, I listened for the first time. But we want to understand who we is. See? Because John will represent heart of the PNP. Yeah. I'm proud of them. And them give me a strength. We not feel that no guy in a parliament can't tell me nothing.
A clip, an audio from the PNP East Central St. Andrew Constituency Conference on Sunday evening. The clip is by the party's General Secretary, Dayton Campbell.
And if we can get 2 seconds, we talk about nationwide. Nationwide is an incubator for the government. An incubator for the government. Naomi Francis left on press secretary. Cecil Toms left on communication director for JUTC. Apka left on senator. Dennis Brooks left on communication director for JCF. It is an incubator for the Jamaica Labour Party. And that's why they like to spin things that we say. And I expect them to spin things this evening.
I challenged the business community to set up a civic committee. And it's called a civic committee, but I made sure that it is full of PNP people because we have an agenda.
But what you are not able to spin is the man who go down a mobile, go talk about him, not talk about election, because some people hungry for power, when they get it, they can't do nothing. The person that was hungry for power that got it and can't do nothing is the man who said we could sleep with windows and doors open. But when him get power, him say crime is above our control.
That's Dayton Campbell. And there's nothing in that to spin, but to say to Mr. Campbell, what you have done is to put in jeopardy, in danger, the physical well-being of not only those people you named, but every single member of the nationwide staff, even more so our reporters. It is a dangerous thing to have said, Dr. Campbell. We are entering a period of increasingly charged political tensions on the eve of a general election, and you decided to set us up, knowing very well that this country has had a violent politics where people, like you have done, are targeted. Mr. Campbell, Dr. Campbell, again, you have demonstrated your ability to incite and to be very reckless and irresponsible. You have endangered the life of every one of our staff here at Nationwide. And we will not forget it. I will not forget it. We will not forget it. But I can assure you, we will continue to do our work the best way we know it. Dr. Campbell?
What price? Intelligence.
Step up and get busy and get wicked on them touch. Why you think this thing gonna come easy? You're fooling yourself. Nah, come easy, baby, right? Nah, give up this so easy. Jamaica, what's he say? The table turned. We don't take this thing serious.
Are you standing by Dr. Campbell's comments in respect of Nationwide News Network, and you've seen the call, of course, by the Press Association of Jamaica? To be clear, I'm an executive member.
Yeah, so I didn't. I think that it was fair comment. I think that there are many Jamaicans, if not most, do regard that particular station as strongly biased towards the Jamaica Labour Party. And for him to say so is fair comment. And to be told that he must retract it. Where is his freedom of speech? It is a germane issue in the body politic of the country. In the body politic of the country, that when a media house has been playing a role, it has been playing in supporting the government. And so for him to say what he said is an important exercise of freedom of speech. And the Press Association ought to be defending him, not castigating him and telling him to retract. I was very disappointed in the Press Association's what I regard as a fairly disingenuous response to that matter.
And in your own, to be clear, and for the record, Dr. Campbell, will you be apologizing? Will you be retracting the comments?
I don't apologize for speaking the truth. No, I'm sitting here with journalists. None of you in here can say you've ever had an interaction with me that has been unpleasant. I've seen instances where Juliet Cuthbert hung up her phone on Andre Williams, right? I've seen instances where Everett Warmington flipped the bird to the media and do all sorts of things. What I said is that, and you can look at it for yourself, look at how that radio station carries the news. Look, just listen to their programs. And the truth is that since I've made that comment, persons from within the media space have said they don't understand how they operate like that. So the PAJ, whereas it's not a regulating body for a nation, right, but they should also bear in mind the truth to what I spoke, right? And I'm not suggesting...
And he's right to say it.
Right, and it's not like I'm making a broad-brush statement against all media houses. Certainly there have been persons that have left your media house and gone to work in government. Either of the parties being in government at the time. Yeah. And nobody said anything about it because they're not coming from a place where the conversation is skewed towards one party. We have had these concerns for a while. Yeah. We got a request for a meeting with the owner of the station, and we expressed to him our views before, that we're concerned about how it is that they editorialize and how they say the things that they do, right? Our members, there's a member there that we've had to block. Myself personally, I have to block him on Twitter because he's more tribal than us who are in the political space.
Of course, we do descend into some tribal politics, but
step up and get busy and get wicked on them too. Why you think this thing gonna come easy? You're fooling yourself. Nah, come easy, baby, right? Nah, give up this so easy. Jamaica, what's he say? The table turned. We don't take this thing serious.
Police are investigating an incident this afternoon where gunmen traveling on a motorcycle fired several shots at the Nationwide News office building on Bradley Avenue in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. The incident happened about 4:30 p.m. Fortunately, no one was harmed. However, a motorcar belonging to an employee was damaged with the front passenger window shattered by gunshots. The attack sent employees scrambling and it left many shaken.
He sat there for some time, and next thing they saw him reach towards his waist, and next thing they heard gunshots being fired towards them. They went flat and they made a dash for inside the building. What did you hear, Siobhan, George?
Siobhan.
I was sitting at my desk. I heard because the newsroom is quite, forgive me, I'm a whirl of emotions right now, but let me try to get this out. The newsroom is quite insulated sound-wise, so I just heard two quick cracks. What I heard that really shook me was a knocking on the glass. I believe it was someone knocking, trying to get into the building, and that shook me out of my stupor, and I ran towards the door to see what was exactly taking place when I was informed that someone had actually attacked Nationwide News with a gun.
George?
Well, at about 4:30, you know at that time it's competitive hour. So I'm there busy trying to put the bulletin together, trying to organize the stories and everything. Usually people knock and enter after I say yes to come into my office. The door burst open, and there was Mahiri Stewart, looking as if he had seen 10 duppies. So I looked up and said, "What's happening?" And he said, George, they just fired some shots. They just shut up the place." So I thought he was talking about a place down the road from Nationwide. So I said, "Shoot up where?" And he was talking, but he was pacing. So I said, "Young man, sit, calm yourself." So he sat there, and I looked at him. I said, "Yeah, what happened now?" He said, "They shoot up the building." I said, "Which building?" "Our building." Then somebody else came to the door and told me that the gunmen had fired at the building. So I said, "What?" So I went outside. I walked outside calmly, think it was an exaggeration. If there were various people running up and down the office in all states of distress. I saw our admin manager on the phone, and she was being consoled by one of the junior members of staff. And
she was the one who called
But
me.
wait, no, I was watching her for a few minutes, and I realized she was talking to you. So I said,
Yes.
"You know what?" But she couldn't get any words out.
She could not.
So I took the phone and I spoke to you, and I went
Yeah.
outside, and people again. It's something like you've never seen before. And then I went and I did my preliminary checks, and of course we spoke, and we agreed on what we were going to do. And then I came back in, and of course I had to be the bad guy, because at that time I had to instruct my reporters to we have a newscast to finish. Everybody was looking at me like
And
I
it was important
very
that we
insensitive.
get the newscast
Yes.
out as we schedule at 5
Yes,
o'clock.
yes.
Because we are not going to be intimidated. We're not going to be distracted from our job. Our job is to report, assess, comment on the affairs of Lady Jamaica. And no lunatic, is going to have us not do so. So I was happy that at 5 o'clock we started the news.
Because perhaps people were looking at me and wondering, well, why am I so nonchalant? But I had to be calm, because my priority, as I told the reporters, we still have a newscast to finish. So Chevron, Abby, Shaloy, Mahiri, my producer, I said, your program is ready? And she said, yes. Had to get business done, because we are here to report the news. And as you said, no power on earth was going to prevent this newscast from starting at 5 p.m. sharp this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, the situation is as we speak, and let me say thanks to the policeman who was able to give me some escort from busy halfway tree to get here, because I was determined that I had to be here to do the cover story. Yes, this caught me on the Junction Road when I got the call.
That's where I heard you were.
Yes.
So I wonder how you reached here so fast.
Yes. Thanks to my driver. Yeah. But also, the place is now crawling with members of the police force and other members of the media fraternity. Yes, if you haven't heard, there was a gun attack this afternoon at approximately 4:30 on our building at 6 Bradley Avenue. A lone gunman rode up on a motorcycle and pulled his gun and fired into the building, into the parking lot. Two vehicles.
At least two.
Yes.
Just say it that way.
At least two.
Yeah.
Well, one more so than the other, and that's a vehicle belonging to a staff member. Thank God she was not in the car at the time.
I have to say, Cliff, that I went, George, you were the one who dropped me to pick up a package somewhere, and I was walking on that road back here not 20, 30 minutes before the attack.
On Bradley Avenue.
On Bradley Avenue.
And you know, what if someone was walking into the premises at that time?
As some people often do.
Exactly.
But Cliff,
we have a vendor across the road.
But that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say, because there's one staff member who was too shaken to come here, who was telling, I overheard her telling somebody that she was about to go there to buy a snack.
Yes. Yes.
And something caused her to turn back or whatever, and that's what prevented her from some serious consequences.
Well, I want to say thanks to the people of Jamaica who have been calling me. My phone, since you broke the news at about 4:36, I received and continue to receive every half a minute calls expressing support and concerns about our well-being. Well, physically, no one was hurt, but of course, mentally, we are hurt. But as I said, they will not break us. This will deepen and strengthen our resolve. You will not succeed.
Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister (OPM), Robert Morgan, who has responsibility for information, described the shooting at the radio station as a sad day for journalism in Jamaica. Morgan added that the government condemns this incident and expresses total support for the staff and shareholders of NNN in a post on social media platform X, formerly Twitter. "We call on the police to do all they can to bring the perpetrator of this brazen and uncalled for act to justice. The government will never support any attempt to threaten, intimidate or harm any member of the media," Morgan stated. The radio station has been on the public agenda since a direct reference to it by People's National Party, PNP, General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, on a political platform over the last weekend. Campbell claimed that NNN is an incubator for the governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, that on the basis of some 4 of its former employees now being employed in prominent positions in the public sector. That notion was sharply rejected by the management of the radio station, which cited the potential risk that was perceived to be now directed at the staff of the station heading into a highly charged period of political campaigning for national elections that are ahead. Campbell's statement was also condemned by the Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ, which cited the statement as an attack on press freedom, and also likely to have the effect of putting NNN staff at risk of attack from misguided political activists. However, it appears from media reports that the PNP has consolidated its support behind Campbell's stated position relative to the radio station, and has called for the PAJ to reconsider its position on the matter, which it is citing as being simply one of freedom of speech on the part of Campbell.
You faced some criticism in recent times. Do you consider yourself a liability to the party?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We've steered this party from being behind by double digits in the poll to where it is now. Ahead in the polls, the government is panicking because of how we've been able to recover and where we've set the party. As a political party, it's dynamic. You have different persons in there with different responsibilities. You have persons who are eminently qualified to speak to the middle class and upper class. You have persons who speak to the base, persons who speak to young people. We all have our roles. It's just like how the body functions, right? Heart, brain, critical, but if you don't have any hands, you're going to have some challenges, right? So different persons have different roles to play. And I see myself as an electrifying speaker for the party, that when you get there, you attack the issues and you ensure that you make people know that we are going to stand up for what we believe in, and we're not going to be pushed over. When I walked into your parking lot, one of your employees said, "Poor people, governor." So, you know, some people understand the issue.
Part of the General Secretary's role is to be forthright on these matters and courageous.
Step up and get busy and get wicked on them too. But you think this thing gonna come easy? You're fooling yourself. Nah, come easy, baby, right? Nah, give up this so easy. Jamaica, what's he say? The table turned. We don't take this thing serious.
We begin with news of widespread condemnation of last night's attack on journalists at the People's National Party headquarters on Old Hope Road. The issue has been generating much public debate about the treatment of journalists. Jamila Maitland reports.
What was supposed to be a regular media coverage of a protest by People's National Party's Southeast St. Catherine supporters turned into a back and forth between PNP members and the media. The Southeast St. Catherine constituents descended on the party's headquarters to voice their objection to the candidate selection process. Not only did some of their own party members take issue with the protest, but they were also upset about the media's presence, which included journalists from Television Jamaica, Radio Jamaica and Nationwide News Network. They demanded that they leave the premises. One even threatened to rape the Radio Jamaica worker, while another threatened to stone the TVJ reporter. The party's Deputy General Secretary Dexroy Martin also took issue with the green color clothing being worn by the reporters. In a letter to the People's National Party President, Chief Executive Officer of Radio Jamaica Gary Allen said what transpired was disgraceful, adding that for a journalist to be repeatedly saying that she feels attacked and abused is as disappointing as it is embarrassing. He's also taken issue with the media workers being chastised about their color clothing, stating that this tribal vestige is to be abandoned by any serious person or organization as nonsensical. He's also calling for an apology by the party to all media workers who were attacked. Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for information Robert Morgan said the action represents a serious attack on press freedom, requiring swift and decisive action against those responsible. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
In the meantime, Press Association President Milton Walker, in a statement condemning the act against journalists at the PNP headquarters, says it's a violation of the fundamental rights of journalists. He says the threat of rape is a new law which has sent chills among female journalists in Jamaica. The PAJ is calling for political parties and supporters to respect the role of journalists and refrain from any action that may threaten their safety or independence.
What the opposition has been saying.
I am not concerned about what the opposition said. They have their own problems right now to fix.
But they're saying it's not in line with